गुड मॉर्निंग फ्रेंड्स। मैं हूं आपका दोस्त मदन सिंह and I'm going to talk to you about an old incident which took place in 1959 but which is a landmark case as far as the Indian judicial system is concerned because it marks the end of the jury system by trial in India. The story concerns a naval commander, Nanavati, who was an absolutely upright naval officer. In 1949, he was sent to Portsmouth in England to carry out his naval training. At that time, there was no training institutions of the Navy in India, and all the naval officers used to go abroad for training. And at Portsmouth, he met with a girl called Sylvia, and she was just a teenager when he fell in love with her. And he wanted to marry her. He proposed, and she said yes because Nanavati, who was a Parsi, was an extremely fair, handsome, tall man. In 49, the couple got married and they came to India. And as per reports, I think his wife converted to the Zoroaster religion, that is the Parsi religion. And by all accounts, they were living a very happy life. They had three children, right up to 56 or 57. But after that, things began to churn. You know what happens? Churn, and things began to move forward. And it moved forward in a very way in which there was a big Himalayan blunder committed by Sylvia. Now, as we all know, in the Navy, commander used to go on the ships, and he was there for 2 to 3 months of the high seas before he came back. In the meanwhile, his wife met a very dashing Sindhi businessman named Prem Ahuja, and she began to sleep with him. This man probably uh, satisfied her, or whatever you can say, and she felt love in his arms. But when Commander came back from his sea voyage in 59, he came to know about this incident with his wife sleeping with Prem Ahuja. He was incensed because he really loved his wife very much, and immediately went to the naval provost marshal, withdrew his service revolver and six bullets, and went across to the residence of Prem Ahuja. They had an altercation there, both of them, and finally Nanavati reported to have asked him that, "Will you marry my wife?" So what Prem Ahuja said was, "Look, friend, I'm not a man who will marry every bitch I sleep with. I think this was a very stupid remark to make, but whatever it is, it incensed Nanavati, and he fired three bullets at Prem Ahuja, hit him in the chest, and Ahuja died. Nanavati went back to the naval police, handed over the revolver, and told the provost that I have killed Prem Ahuja. He was arrested, brought to trial, and now a jury was cobbled up. But by now, the incident had really caught fire in the city of Bombay, and all over India, people watching carefully. And much of the credit for this notoriety of this case must go to R.K. Karanjia, who was the editor of a tabloid called The Blitz. And The Blitz began to run big articles supporting Nanavati. And people were incensed. They felt Nanavati has not been given justice. He's an upright naval officer, and whatever he did was an act of provocation, so he is not guilty for murder in the first degree. So the case trial continued, and the atmosphere was greatly vitiated, and ultimately the jury, which had been cobbled up for this trial, was perhaps influenced by the all-round atmosphere, and they pronounced a verdict of not guilty. Now, this was not accepted by the judge, who called it a perverse judgment, referred the case to the High Court, which awarded life imprisonment to Nanavati. The case went up to the Supreme Court, and again he was awarded life imprisonment. But this was not the end of the story, because the Indian government was also seized of the problem. The people were worried. The Parsi community was up. GRD Tata was also supporting Nanavati. And finally, The matter was referred to the governor of Maharashtra, who was Vijay Lakshmi Pandit. She was, I think, the sister of Jawaharlal Nehru, and she was able to persuade the wife, the sister of Prem Ahuja, to forgive Nanavati and say that she had no objection that in case he was released from prison. So they got the letter signed from her, and the governor of Maharashtra exercised her option and pardoned Nanavati. Now, that was the end of the trial, and it was a sensational trial in the sense it was a jury trial, but it was very important, and the case went up to the Supreme Court also, and the Law Commission then began to do deliberations, and they concluded that jury trials are not the vogue in India and should not be the vogue in India, mainly because the people here don't have the same concept of what a jury is, say, like in England or America. So the net result was that the Supreme Court decided and the Law Commission agreed that jury trials would no longer take place in India. Now, this is the crucial point, gentlemen, which took place. This trial is a landmark trial of Commander Nanavati, who killed his wife's lover, shot him dead, got life imprisonment, was pardoned because there was the mitigating factor that the jury had acquitted him, and it led to the fact that the jury would no longer be part of the judicial process in India. It's a very big decision. And Nanavati, after that, of course, uh, left India. He went away to Canada. I will tell you a little more about his life later on. But I hope you like this video, gentlemen. And if you like it, I'll be very happy if you can subscribe to my channel and share it with your friends. And subscribe. Again, I say subscribe. Give your comments and like the channel. So, gentlemen, that was what was happening. And I think it must have been a very traumatic experience for Sylvia and her husband. Sylvia stood by her husband during the trial, but the judge passed very, very telling remarks about her conduct and said that she was a loose woman and who betrayed her husband. She stood by her husband during the trial, and when both of them then decided they lived together and went away to Canada. Nanavati, gentleman, died in 2003 in Canada. He lived a very obscure life, simple life. I think he was helped in a big way by the Parsi community to go there. And Sylvia continued. They had three children who are probably all grown up now. I don't know much about them. They settled in Canada, and they were very happy because they were out of the limelight of notoriety which they had gained here. And Sylvia, I think last I came to know that in 2018 she had entered a facility for old people, where they could be an old home rather. I don't know why she didn't go and stay with her children. Maybe they didn't want her, whatever it may be. But then she's still alive as per the last report which I gave. And considering that she was 18 in 1949, so you can add another 76 years, she must be 94. Nanavati died, of course, he was much older to her, and he died in 2003. So, gentlemen, this rings down the case of one of the most famous cases in India. But this case raised a very, very important judicial questions, and it led to the complete stoppage of jury trials in India. Now, jury trials in India, there are both sides plus and minus points. A jury is normally picked up of 7 or 9 members from important who are important citizens in a country or a city, and they deliberate on the crime and pronounce their verdict, but they are guided by the judge with the evidence given to them. In this particular case, I think the jury was really swayed by all the propaganda which was being carried out by the tabloid and the general feeling among the people, that none of us had been greatly wronged. And the sister of Prem Ahuja, I mean, she played ball, I will say this much, that she agreed that he could be released. She had no objection. Though really, the governor of Maharashtra need not have taken her congress, but she wanted to follow the right path. And the sister's name was Myami Ahuja. We don't know much about her. Maybe she's also no longer there. But the incident sparked three Hollywood movies. And the first one, if I remember correctly, was by Ye Raste Hai Pyar Ke, which started the famous actor Sunil Dutt, who played the role of Commander Nanavati, and Leela Naidu played the role of Sylvia in this movie. Now, people must be wondering, it's no big deal that somebody should fall in love, wife should fall in love with another man and then have a relationship with him when a husband is away. I will agree on that. But the fact remains that the case got very notorious, very famous. People were perturbed for one way, and everybody felt a lot of sympathy for Nanavati. And though he had taken the service revolver and shot his that lover dead, many people said that he had acted uh, uh, because he was greatly incensed. But the High Court in its judgment noted that the time when he drew the revolver and the time he shot Prem Ahuja shows that he had already decided to kill him. It was a premeditated murder. So it was not a crime of passion. That's what the High Court said, I think. And the Bombay High Court judgment, which was reviewed by the Supreme Court, also concurred with whatever I said. And we don't know about the judge. Where has he gone? What happened to the judge? Probably he just retired and went away. But the trial has become very, very important, and a lot of people have felt very incensed at that time. But now, of course, it's more of a mystery. And just after this movie, Bollywood made two more films on the same incident, and one of them, I think, starred Akshay Kumar, who did very good role. But uh, the movies do not capture the essence of passion at what took place at that time, and the passion of Nanavati for his wife. I think Nanavati got carried away. Perhaps it would have been much better if he had not shot Prem Ahuja dead. He should have confronted his wife and got a divorce and gone away. But that's my way of thinking, and that's not the best way that I can see it, or it is the best solution. Because when a man loses his sense of reason, anything can happen. But the important point to note here is that the Indian government released or pardoned Nanavati, and his sentence was reduced from life imprisonment to just 3 years. And that period also, I think he spent a lot of time on bail. So practically he spent very little time in jail. So one can say that he killed a man, shot him dead in cold blood, and then got away with it. Now that is a fact which we cannot overlook. And as a legal lawyer myself, I don't think it's the correct message. And the government pardoning Nanavati, well, that's part of the game, it happens. And public opinion has to be looked after. And Nanavati's gone into history. And now he's no more. I mean, I wonder how these people lived their life, when they were together in Canada. And I understand it's all over now, bar the shouting. I will close. Goodbye, gentlemen. God bless. Take care. And best of luck.